I got into photography probably seriously about 10 years ago, and I've always had an interest in it, and I've always sort of done it as a hobby, but I used to be a radiographer, and for 18 years I was a radiographer, and for 10 of those years I didn't like actually my job. So I just decided that I wanted to be autonomous and run my own business, and what should I do? Oh, do photography, and yeah, haven't looked back basically. It's been absolutely fantastic. I guess I love photography because it's a blur of lifestyle, and it's not like, photography is not like a business to me. It's a whole lifestyle thing. I love the sound of the shutter, but I also love creating something through the lens and then seeing it appear on the screen. And sometimes it's such a buzz because sometimes you take the shot and you know that you've got a great shot even before looking at the screen. And then sometimes you look at the screen and think, oh, that looks like it might be an okay shot, not quite certain, but when you get it on the big screen at home, and it just blows you away. It's just such a buzz. I love it. Initially, I did a course at CIT, and I finished that course in 1998. I was still working as a radiographer for a couple of years after that, and established my business in 2000. That's when I registered the business with the ACT government, and basically I decided that I wanted to be the best photographer in Canberra. And and at that stage in Canberra, there was a woman called Heidi Smith. She's a very well-known photographer, and I decided that I thought, okay, that's where I want to be in X amount of years' time. And she's since retired, so I think that I've actually reached that point. And I guess the business has developed because I started doing a lot of wedding photography initially, and I think a lot of people do when they get into photography. It's an easy way to earn income. And most people are getting married more often these days because the divorce rate's so high. But and then after I sort of got married and had my child, I got into portrait photography, and that's what I do mostly these days. I do a lot of children's portraits, and I think to get the best out of the kids, basically, is you've got to be a bit of a child yourself. And I'm quite good at being really silly, and it's relating to them on their terms and their level as well. Like when you go into a house, you don't just say, oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs., my name's Hilary, I'm the photographer. I actually sometimes ignore the parents and actually just speak to the kids and ask them what mummy and daddy are doing, and whatever. And as soon as you've got their attention, that's when you know you're going to get a good shot. It's fantastic. Kids are amazing to photograph. I won the Portrait Photographer of the Year this year with a series of images of clients and some personal work. And the personal work is a very special body of work that I did of a friend of mine who died in January last year, and I photographed his journey through cancer from 2005 to when he died in January last year. And because I was one of his closest friends, he allowed me complete access to his life, basically, which meant that I photographed him at some of his lowest points during his illness, and during his death as well. I was there when he died, and that's a very confronting thing to do, especially when family and friends are around him, and like even the click of the shutter and stuff like that. So in fact, the period where he actually died, I didn't take any photographs there, but I photographed him after he died and his death. And two of the photos that I entered into the award this year contain him. And one of them is quite an illustrative image with text, and the text is something that he wrote that was his... he had quite a sense of humour, and he wrote this little rhyme that was to be emailed out after he died to say, yes, I'm dead, here I am, here's an email. But, so he had quite a sense of humour, but it's really a beautiful, touching image. And he had a little dog with him as well, who died a month later of a broken heart. I mean, the whole thing was just, an amazing thing as a photographer to be part of. I think I decided to photograph Billy's, to ask him whether I could document Billy's life, because I knew him so well, and also because as a photographer who generally photographs family portraits and weddings, there's not that much scope for real personal development, and to be part of something that's so intense and so profound was, and the fact that he allowed me to get in so close and photograph him, as I said, at his lowest points in his life, it's just an amazing experience as a photographer to be part of. When I've got my camera in front of me, it's sort of like it almost separated me from what was happening in front. And it's not until you actually see the images in print or on the computer screen that you go, wow. And then you see some images that you'd taken a year before when he was like twice the weight and not as yellow. And you go, oh gosh, that's amazing. And the only time that I really, really was overwhelmed was I did an audio visual of the last night of his life, and it contained about 100 images of the last 24 hours of his life and up to when the funeral people came and took his body away. And so I did that and it was all done, and I showed everyone. Everyone was bawling their eyes out. I'm sitting there watching it and not having any reaction. It was weird. But it was like about 2 months later, someone wanted to have a look at it, a friend who hadn't seen it, and we sat down and put it on and watched it on the TV, and I was absolutely sobbing. I mean, it's just because I'd had enough time to sort of separate it from the whole thing. I've got goosebumps. And, it was a really moving experience. In the future, with my photography, I want to be able to have a better work-life balance, and which I'm striving for, but also I would love to be named Australian Portrait Photographer of the Year, so I'm working on that. I'm going to have a couple of exhibitions in the next 2 years. I've got a website that people can have a look at, all my sort of commercial work, and that's hwp.com.au. And so, that has obviously all my commercial stuff on there that people can see. And I've got a blog that I add to. And I should really have a personal work blog, but I tend to put that on my Facebook site for some reason. But so if people need to get in contact with me, they can go to the website, I suppose.